Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel today and clicking on this video. In this week's episode, I have decided I want to touch on a certain class that I am taking through my job. As most of you know, I now work at a children's hospital. I work as a phlebotomist. And at the organization where I work, it requires all of its employees, from the very, very top down to, all of us have to take this class on communicating. Everybody knows that communicating is really important, right? Everybody understands that in every relationship of your life, from work to your most intimate relationships to a stranger you're passing on the street, communicating is immensely important. Being able to effectively communicate information and emotion and empathy and all of these things. Some people are naturally great at it, some people are not, but it's a skill. It's something you can learn, and it's something you have to practice. If you don't do it, you will lose it. And if you don't care, if you don't genuinely care about other people and about hurting other people, you won't be a good communicator. If all you care about is the information you need to get across or your message you're trying to get across, you're not going to get it across. That's as simple as it is. There's this really awesome saying I heard in one of my classes, and it's just stuck with me. It's just really, really stuck with me. And it's this. It says, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I bring this up because, for the longest time, I always thought of myself as like this really straightforward, blunt, intelligent person. And I kind of took pride in that. And I still think I'm kind of, that person. I'm still very straightforward. But as a kid, I did it to a fault, and I did it to the point that I was just rude because, I kind of went with that, like, facts don't care about your feelings, which I still believe is true, but I've also come to the understanding that there are a million ways to get your message across. There are a million ways to say the same thing. You can always be nicer with your approach. You can always be nicer with the message that you send. And that's something I truly work on in myself, and I've worked on it for years, and I have some really wonderful people in my life who were genuinely kind enough that I would listen to them and I learned from them. And this class, again, has just really resonated with me. So I'm really excited to talk about it with you guys today. And I've given you this long, crazy intro because I know a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are going to sound like this ooey gooey, like, nonsense, and I guess a lot of people kind of go into this class thinking that, where they don't think it's going to be this just like golden information that it is. They think it's going to be, be nice and smile and apologize, and you'll be able to communicate with patients effectively. But that's not it. There's so much more to it. And when you really sit down and think about it, and you think, how can I do this when I'm communicating with somebody, it really does make a difference. It really just has like blown my mind, and I love that my job has made me take these classes. I wish I could keep taking them. There were only 3 and I've taken all of them. Okay, so the first thing I need to talk about with language of caring is a template. And this template is used to convey information to somebody that they may not want to hear, they might not be ready to hear. So it's not necessarily negative, just something that they may not, it can be negative, but not necessarily, right? So this template, and again, ooey gooey, I know, don't come for me, just hear me out. It's called the heart, head, heart sandwich. And what that means is you start off with heart, right? You start off showing empathy, relating to that person, showing them that you care, and then you give them the message. You give them the information, you ask them the question, whatever it is, the purpose of us communicating. And then the most important part is you go back to heart, right? And you tell them again, like, I really want to help you, or I want to do everything that I can for you. Or, just something along those lines to really genuinely show them that, they're not in trouble, you're not mad, anything like that, that you're genuinely giving them this information for their benefit. And like I said earlier, there's a million ways to say something. If you don't like what somebody said, you could flat out tell them that, I don't like that you said that. I don't like that you did that. Or you could, you could say, hey, I really appreciate you coming to talk to me right now. I really appreciate your time. So listen, this thing you did the other day, this thing you said, I don't think it was appropriate, blah, 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 however you want to word it. And then bring it back. Say, I really, really care about you, and I want to do everything that I can to help you grow. And again, I know that might sound gooey, but if you just really think about it, if you just broaden that into like a real life situation, it's something I'm really trying to bring into my life. And not just at work. It's kind of easy to do at work when I'm talking with strangers, because you can kind of always say the same things. You can always say, I want to do everything I can to help you. Or, you seem frustrated, I understand, this is what we can do. But I want to bring it into my life with all of my relationships. I want to be a better communicator. I want to be a nicer person. And I think this is really where you start. I think this is where you can become a genuinely good communicator. So the language of caring is, the classes are set up covering some essential skills. And the first one is acknowledging feelings. And again, I know this can sound ooey gooey, but there's really a fine line between showing somebody that you are seeing their emotion and that you acknowledge it and being patronizing, right? There's a difference between saying, I know how you're feeling, because you don't. You might not know how that person is feeling, but you can say, hey, you seem really frustrated, or you seem really stressed. What can I do to help you? I really want to make the situation better for you. Just little things like that, just genuinely acknowledging the situation. When somebody comes at you and they have an issue, you want to match their level of emotion. And now I'm not saying if they're mad, get mad. Not at all. You don't want to maybe show the same emotion, but you want to match their level of intensity. Does that make sense? If someone comes at me and they're just beyond themselves with concern, and they're worried and they don't know what to do because this, that, or the other, and I'm just like, okay, well, this is what we can do. What does that convey? That conveys that I don't care. That I might have an answer for them, but I don't care about what they're going through. And that doesn't make you feel good, Instead, if I match their intensity, I said, okay, I understand what's going on. This is what we might be able to do. Do you think this can help? What else can I do for you? Isn't that just a totally different mindset? That's going to help bring that person down. It's going to help them realize they're not in this situation alone. They found somebody who cares, who has met their level of intensity and emotion, and is ready to help them every step of the way. That can take, I work at a children's hospital. Okay, so I see a lot of people who are just having a terrible day, because they're kids in the hospital. And, what kind of worse day could you have than that? So I really feel like it's in my job description to try to make their day better, to try to help them feel that they're not tackling this monster of a problem by themselves. The next one is probably one of my favorite pieces of language of caring, and this one is explaining your positive intentions. I know why I do the things that I do. You know why you do the things that you do. And say I do the same thing every day, it becomes normal to me. And I'm gonna space needing to explain that, right? Because obviously when I leave a patient room, I close the door so that that patient has privacy. Obviously, right? That makes sense. But does the patient know that? What do they think when I close the door? So this is something that was actually covered in the class, and at my hospital, they did a survey who knows how many years ago, asking the patients, why do you think that we close the door? Why do you think we close the door? And I'd say the majority of them probably said, so I have privacy, so I can be myself. But there was a percentage of patients who had bizarre answers. They said stuff like, oh, well, they close the door because they're done with me right now and they don't want me to bother them for a while. Isn't that insane? Or what was another one? Another one said, they closed the door so that they could talk about me. And that is insane. I hope that's not ever true. We don't think that. That's not why I closed the door. So something as simple as, okay, I'm done now, I'm going to leave. Hey, I'm going to close your door so that you have some privacy, okay? Isn't that that just eliminates that problem. It's explaining why my actions are beneficial. It's explaining why, although you may not like this, this is why we need to do this. You know, it's for your benefit, it's for my benefit, it's for our safety. It's, you know, giving them that explanation and that trust in me, you know, and understanding that my actions are being done for you. I'm doing this because I'm thinking ahead, I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about me. So another piece of explaining positive intent is using words like with you or for you. You know, I'm going to do this with you, or I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to shut the door for you. I'm going to shut the light off for you. You know, things like that just kind of build that trust and build that sense of mutual understanding in each other. You know, you think about it, especially, again, I work at a children's hospital. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep relating it back to that. But if a little kid comes into my room, they don't know why I'm going to poke them with a needle. They don't know why I'm drawing blood. They don't know why I need to put a tight rubber band on their arm first. They don't understand any of it, you know, depending on their age. So imagine how scary it is if I just go in and start working and doing things and they don't understand any of it. Versus if I try to explain it on their level. Just that little piece of, this is why I'm doing this. And I know it's obvious to me, but it might not be to you, so I want to make sure you know that. Just really broadened my horizons, I think. It really made me realize how that little extra piece of communication just does so much. And I think about how much that would mean to me, you know. The next couple things are this. So, the blameless apology was one module we did in this class. And I know it can seem easy to just explain, you know, this is delayed because so-and-so messed up. Because so-and-so did this. Well, how does that make me look? Honestly, that makes me look childish. That makes my organization look poor. Versus if I said, you know, I'm so sorry that this is frustrating for you, or I'm so sorry that this is being delayed. You know, just a blameless apology, not saying, you know, we're sorry, because that seems impersonal, but saying, I'm sorry for what you're going through. I'm sorry for what you're experiencing. Means so much more than, oh, well, you know, flipping Janet over there dropped your paperwork and that's why we don't know what's going, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, when I say it like this, it sounds ridiculous. But just really think about how often in your life a situation like that happens. You know, not just with, in my case, a patient, but with a coworker, you know, or a family member, or this, that, or the other, you know. Say, I'm sorry that you missed me because I wasn't home on time. You know, rather than saying, oh, well, the traffic was bad, this, that, you should understand. You know, just apologize. Say, hey, I'm sorry that we didn't get to spend time together like we wanted to, like we meant to. You know, that's just so much more genuine, because you should be sorry for what that person is experiencing over your need to defend yourself. My last one, again, is going to seem kind of obvious, but not everybody is very good at it, I think. And this one is expressing your appreciation for somebody. And I know this isn't something everybody's good at. It can be hard or awkward for some people. But something as simple as telling someone, you know, that they did a good job. Or, you know, like my example earlier with something being delayed. Maybe instead of apologizing, say, thank you so much for your patience. You know, isn't that just a different mindset, a different, you know, energy being conveyed when I'm thanking this person, when I'm appreciating them for sitting still for me while I poked them, or, you know, where I'm thanking somebody for being understanding or for doing an extra chore for me, you know, rather than nagging somebody for not doing this, thank them for what they did do. You know, I'm sure they're not a garbage human being. I'm sure they did something for you, you know, just dig a little deeper and realize, you know, how much you have to be grateful for. You know, and this is another one where it can come off as patronizing. You know, if you go to someone, you're like, hey, good job. You know, to you might have been genuine, but to them, they might be like, what does that mean? You know, so a good way to avoid that is to kind of get their attention. You know, like say, hey, so-and-so, that patient earlier was really difficult. I just wanted to say you did a really good job. You know, I really appreciate you being there to help me. You know, or writing, you know, there's a million ways you can do it. You can write a note, write an email, a text, or tell them face-to-face, you know, or give them a gift or something like that, you know, but it really will mean the world to whoever it is, to your coworker, your best friend, your significant other, whoever it is, just that moment of, hey, you're a really awesome person, and I noticed that. You know, that just, again, just means a lot to people. So the last thing I want to talk about today in this video before I wrap it up, because I know it's already really long, and again, I appreciate you sticking it through all the way to the end with me. The last thing that was covered in my class was to adopt a loving attitude, an attitude of loving kindness. And I know that's probably the most ooey gooey thing I'm going to say in this video, and I added it anyway, because after watching all of these, you know, it was a WebEx, the classes, so after watching all of these classes and taking all these notes, you know, it just made me realize, you know, that loving kindness, that attitude, is something you can learn. You know, empathy is not something you're born with. You know, a child is not empathetic. You know, when they hit their sibling and their sibling's crying, they don't have empathy. They have to learn that. You know, they learn that from their parents telling them, you know, that's not okay, look how you made them feel, you know, you shouldn't be okay with that. And as you grow older, you learn that empathy. So, you know, it's a skill you can work on. It's a skill you can change and you can adapt over time. To learn to look at other people and try to relate to what they're feeling, you know. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling and this video is so super long, but this is something I feel really passionate about. And again, please let me know if you would like a part 2. I'm sure I could do another video on this subject. I really ran through these kind of fast, even though this is a super long video, because again, this was over 3 hours worth of class time. And I just wanted to get this information out there, because again, everybody says, you know, what's the key to a good relationship? Communication. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it's communication. But people still suck at communicating. And why is that? Why is it that I know the key to my relationship is communicating with each other? Why do people still suck at it? You know, and I think this is a big part of it. People get stuck in that mindset of, you know, that their message is the most important thing. That they need to teach you a lesson. That they need to tell you what you need to hear, you know. And that's just, it's a bad mindset. And it's one that can be changed. But it takes effort, and it takes time, and it takes genuine thought. So if you took anything out of this video today, I hope, as gooey as it sounds, that you can take out that heart sandwich idea. Take that template home with you and really think about it. Think about what it means to you and how you can apply that genuinely to your life. And with that being said, this is before editing, so right now we're at 21 and a half minutes, and that is insane, so I'm sorry, Quentin. I love you. Thank you for editing my videos, and thank you everybody else for watching. That being said, I'm done. So